Today we have one of my very close friends, Mr. Chinmay Pradhan, joining us on our podcast channel. So Chinmay is one of my very close friends since our engineering days, and we both have in fact traveled quite a lot together. Our recent trip being to Dubai with our respective families. Now, Mr. Chinmay is a banker by profession and works in an MNC bank. So today Chinmay is joining us to share about his recent trip to Croatia and Slovenia, and he visited there with his wife in September or October 24. So, Mr. Chinmay Pradhan, a very warm welcome to our podcast channel.
Hi, Prathamesh. Good to be on this podcast. I'd been to Croatia and Slovenia in the month of October with my wife. We were there from 10th October to 21st October, roughly 12 days, and out of which we were there in Slovenia for 3 days, and the rest 9 days in Croatia. It was a total 11, 12 days trip.
So, was October the as in perfect season for visiting these countries, or you had this on mind and you just planned it out of the blue?
So, Prathamesh, October is typically a shoulder season. So, for European countries, not just Croatia, majorly European countries, they have their peak season from July to August, or you can say mid-June to first, second week of September, if we extend it. So, that is their peak season. From September mid onwards till October end is the fall and the autumn, or we can say, and that is the shoulder season. That is called a shoulder season because it is neither a peak season nor a off season. Off season starts from November onwards. So this means October will definitely attract less crowds as compared to the peak season. At the same time, of course, climate would be a bit different. It could be a bit cold as compared to August and July and August. But yeah, my main reason was less crowd, and of course, you get some options, stay options for cheap prices as compared to the peak season. So this was the main thought process behind October.
So, basically, you prefer traveling to foreign countries during off season, or maybe not during the peak season, so that you can enjoy all the spots and whatever destination spots, tourist spots are there with less crowd.
Yes, definitely. Because in peak season, you will have to stand in long queues. From my experience, the spots which we covered, we observed, we were told by the guides and everyone, the organizers, that the queue in peak season usually goes around for 1 or 2 hours. But since it was October, we had to just stand in queue for 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the max at the major attractions.
Yes.
So that's definitely a point. Of course, there's a disadvantage, sometimes disadvantage as well. As I said, a season could be a bit more cold. There could be a bit rain. There could be bit rains, showers in October. But that is okay. That is manageable.
Yeah. So coming to the main question, why I wanted to ask, since I already know you're a Game of Thrones fan, so was Croatia influenced by your interest in Game of Thrones, or it was just a decision that you had thought, uh, I want to visit somewhere in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was one of the reason. But I actually discovered about it later, to be honest. I used to watch Game of Thrones, but I discovered about Dubrovnik, which is the Game of Thrones King's Landing for majority of season that later. When I was searching for destinations in Europe, I came across Croatia by the videos which I saw. It was really beautiful. It looked a very beautiful place. Something you can say similar to Italy, but a cheaper version of Italy, definitely. So, two things. One was the beauty of that place, and another one was the budget which you would require for other mainstream European countries, typically Western Europe. As compared to that, you need a lesser budget. You can get a cheaper stays, attractions are cheaper, or
Cheaper would a trip to Croatia be if you are traveling from India? In terms of percentage, maybe like if Italy is like 1 lakh rupees for Croatia, it would cost to like in that ratio.
I think, to my mind, as much as I have searched for stay and attractions, I think it would be a 25-30% saving, definitely,
Okay.
minimum. Of course, it can vary, but I think that's the base. 25-30% is what you can save if you travel to Croatia, as compared to, let's if we compare directly with Italy, because Croatia and Italy, if you see in the map, they are exactly opposite to each other. They just face different sides of the ocean.
Okay. So coming back to your trip, I guess you mentioned you visited Slovenia and Croatia, right? Across 12 days. So this was in October. So when did you start planning for it? Since the main agenda of this overall podcast is to share how one can go about planning a trip by themselves, right? People are still scared to do all the bookings and by themselves.
Correct.
Since when they land in any other country, right, they are unaware about how to approach, or if anyone rejects their bookings or makes their claims their bookings as void, right? So how do you first go about planning and then executing those bookings, right? The flights, the hotels, if any admission tickets to any tourist spots, right? So
Yeah.
first maybe we can
So
say when did you start planning? So first
correct.
maybe we can say when did you start planning, and then we can move on to the next parts.
Yeah. So roughly, I started planning, I think 3 months prior to our trip. It was in October, so I started somewhere in June, end of June. So I had a proper 3 months in my hand to plan. I first booked my tickets to this countries. The ticket which I had booked from Mumbai to Ljubljana. Ljubljana is the capital of Slovenia. So I wanted to first cover Slovenia. So I booked from Mumbai to Ljubljana. It was a Swiss Air flight via Zurich, and the return ticket was from Zagreb. Zagreb is the capital city of Croatia. Zagreb to Mumbai, Turkish Airlines via Istanbul. So this was the first step. Second step, I shortlisted some stays, had a rough idea about the trip, which cities I was going to cover. So roughly we covered 4 to 5 cities across these two countries. So I went and I booked the stays to make a tentative plan. And then the most important thing was to get the visa dates and prepare for the visa process, because both these countries are part of Schengen area. Croatia was not part of the Schengen area till 1 or 2 years back, but since
Okay.
I think 2023 they have become a part of a Schengen area, and Euro is their currency. So to get a visa slot was the next target for me after booking flights and hotels.
So one question over here, I would like to interrupt you. How did you finalize which cities you want to cover? Or since, see, like I haven't visited Croatia and Slovenia, right? So if I am someone who wants to plan to visit, right, the first question naturally comes, which all cities to cover, right? So what are the references you took? Or did you refer any travel vlogs or any tours and travels you reached out to travel agents to get an understanding or researched online? So if you can share any insights on those points so that anyone who is maybe planning for some other country, they can get inputs on those part.
Yeah. So no, I didn't reach out to any travel agencies. I did my research through travel vlogs, YouTube videos. So there are multiple travel vlogs and YouTube videos, thankfully, in these days, which you can refer to. I did the same thing. I referred to most of them. Now it is my bit of my liking. Not everybody would like it, but I actually went through the map also, Google Maps and the map, to see which actually places are close, or how feasible it would be. Because sometimes it might not be always feasible for you to travel from one place to another place. Then comes how would you travel from one cities to other cities. One thing is, okay, you shortlisted 5 to 6 places. Now traveling between them, is it even possible? Is it like, does it fit in your budget? Is there a road transport, or you have to take air transport because they are too far? So on and so forth. So I did all my research through mostly travel blogs, through maps, Google Maps, checking the distances, and actually seeing what are the modes of transport. And then I finalized, because see, Croatia, the coastal region of Croatia has 5 to 6 cities which are pretty famous. Out of them, two are most famous. We'll come to that, Split and Dubrovnik. But along with that, there are another 2, 3 cities which are very famous. There's an island called Hvar Island, which is again very famous. Obviously, you can't cover all of them. You have to shortlist at least 2, 3, or else you will need some to 15, 20 days or 25 days. So
Okay.
I shortlisted the top best, the most popular ones, and which were, reachable by a bus or any other ferry transport quite easily. Wherever I had a good amount of options to reach those cities. So these were my criterias, and this is how I selected and finalized this 4 5 cities.
Okay. So coming back to the planning part, right? So first you mentioned you booked the flights. So flights from Mumbai to Slovenia, and then the return flight from, I guess, Croatia to again India,
Yes,
right?
Zagreb to
So
Mumbai. Yeah.
so so first things first, how do you decide which flight is it? Basis the timing, the cost, uh, basis what did you finalize, and how did you go about it? Did you book it via the airline flight? Any tips you would like to share on that part when we go about it?
So, see, typically I would avoid a flight which reaches a very new destination
Mhm.
in very odd hours. Okay, so that's my thinking. I would definitely avoid a flight which reaches, let's say, after 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. in the evening, because uh, to be honest, European cities in Europe as a whole is quite quieter. It's very slow and quiet after the sunsets around after 7 7:30 p.m. So one tip is definitely you would want to avoid as much as possible. If you don't have options, then that's a different thing. But avoid as much as possible flight which reaches after 7 or 8 p.m. in the night. So that is one tip. That is the timing, talking about timing. So anywhere a flight which reaches from, let's say, even morning 5 a.m. till 7 p.m., 8 p.m. is you're good. You can book it if you want to consider availability and safety wise. Of course, the night flights which reach European cities in the morning, like mine it was a flight at I think so around 12:30 a.m. in the night from Mumbai, 12:30, 12:45, and we reached Zurich at 6:15, 6:30 in the morning, Zurich time, and we had a connecting flight after a 1.5 hour or 2 hours layover at Zurich, and finally we reached our destination, that's Ljubljana, at somewhere around 9:15, 9:30 in the morning. Now, this somehow disturbs your sleep routine, but that's okay. I mean, that's the most convenient part because in the morning everything is open and you get taxis and everything. Coming
Correct.
to the prices, you'll have to compare across different portals. I had booked it through two portals, Make My Trip and Ease My Trip,
Okay.
because those were different flights from different locations. So there was not a single, like I didn't have a single option. Like let's say if you book from Mumbai to London and back to Mumbai, it's a straight flight. You can book it in one go. But since this were from different locations. The ongoing location was different and the incoming location was different. I booked it from one from Make My Trip and other from Ease My Trip. So that's how you'll have to compare across three, four major portals, and you can also check it on the airlines website as well.
So I would like
That's the
to
flight
share
part.
one. Yeah, I would like to share one point, Chinmay. So the point which you mentioned, right? If your to and fro destinations are kind of different, there
Yeah.
is an option on Make My Trip, or in fact on every app, wherein you can input the destination, even if they are
Yes.
different, and you can book it in one single booking. There is an
Yes.
option.
Multi-city options are also
Multi-city.
available.
Yeah,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
right. So
Yeah, you can
so
explore that also.
yeah. So so coming to hotels, right? So my when I try to, like, I also plan my own trips, right? So one point which I look at when I'm looking at booking hotels is how near it is to airport, if my destination where I'm booking hotels is the first or the last one, right? Because then it becomes very convenient if you are to catch a flight from that destination. But then there are
Yes.
cities wherein the cities are very large in geography, and during that time it becomes a very important factor where you book the hotels, right? If you are very located far away from the key destinations, right, it's an unnecessary addition of cost, right? Because the cab or
Correct.
whatever you're
Correct.
using. So how do you plan booking the hotels? Like, what are the factors you look at before looking at the shortlisting hotels, and then how do you book them?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point and valid question. I agree up to a certain extent that it would be easier if you book it near the airport. But the thing is that airport usually use it once or twice in a trip. While if
Correct.
there is no interconnecting flight, then it will be like when you're going from India to that country and then coming back. So my choice across all these 4 5 cities which we covered was always a city center, because city
Okay.
center is a place where most of the attractions are nearby, and if they're not nearby, you get good choice of transport from the city center, because all the buses, all their offices,
Correct.
everything is located in the city center. Now when it comes to Croatia, because it has a large coastline, it's a coastal country, and the cities, most of the cities which you would cover when you go into Croatia would be the coastal cities. So the port is another important thing, because you might have to use port for some attractions and everything, or to travel to different city also. So even the port is also always, most of the times, it's in most of the cities is located near the city center. Plus, in Europe, in certain cities, at least in Croatia, in the city of Split and Dubrovnik, there is a concept called as Old Town and New Town. Now, Old Town is where most of the attractions are located, and you will be spending most of your time for attraction, at least for traveling, or taking photos or sightseeing, which we call. Now that those old towns are, most of the times they are at the city center, and that's why city center is was my preference throughout the trip. Another point which I would like to mention is the bus stops, the major bus stations. Because I used, most of the times I used bus from traveling from one city to another city. So bus stations are very, in a very close proximity in the city center area. So that was my choice, and I used to actually search for the bus stations as well, the distance from a hotel to bus stations, because you might not you get it most of the times. You might not sometimes get cab easily. So it's good if a bus station is in walkable distance from your hotel, and they're always at the city center. That's my observation. So that was my criteria.
Okay, so can you share which hotels you booked, right? Or hotels or maybe Airbnbs or resorts you booked in Slovenia and Croatia, so that it might help. And you can maybe share the reviews of those hotels. We'll put in the photos and clippings, if any, so that users, if they're viewers, if they're looking at this podcast, they can have a reference, and if they want, they can book the same property during the stay.
Yeah, so most of them, most of my stays were like apartment stays. Because one thing which I observed in Croatia is the hotels in city center area are limited, and whatever hotels there are in the city center area, they're pretty expensive. So I went for apartment options. Apartments are super good, very well maintained, and you won't feel like any difference as such, apart from the room service and other things which are available in hotel. Apart from that, you get blankets, towels, clean towels, napkins, toiletries, a lot of things. It's like fully loaded apartment, which I observed. So for most of the places, it were apartments. Few of them which I can recollect right now is in Ljubljana. I did stay in apartments Maria. It was name was Apartments Maria. It was in city center near the bus stop. In Split, it was Airbnb, which I can share the link. Dubrovnik as well. It was again Airbnb apartment. Can share the link with you. And then there was a third city which we covered. It's a remote. It's not a very famous city of Croatia, but I wanted to just spend my couple of days, last 2 days of my trip in leisure, just just rewinding myself and just chill. Because in Europe, in most of the destinations, you have to walk like a lot. So that's I think it's not a leisure trip as such. So this was opportunity to spend something in leisure, and that too in Europe. That's why I found out this place called Makarska, uh, where we stayed in a beach facing, sea facing hotel. The name of the hotel was Valamar Meteor. There is a It's a famous chain. Valamar is a famous hotel chain in
Correct.
Croatia. And then the fifth stay was just for the sake of taking the return flight, which was in the capital city, Zagreb. Another point which is related over here that I would like to mention: Croatia is one of the very few countries where the tourists visit other cities as compared to their capital, Zagreb.
Okay.
So their capital city, Zagreb, experiences the least tourists as compared to their other cities. So that's very rare. I think so there are only 3, 4 countries like that in Europe. But that's the
Okay.
case because Zagreb doesn't has much attractions as such. So again, over there, I think we stayed in some apartment. It was a Airbnb apartment, or I booked it from Booking.com, the one in Zagreb. You can share the link. So this was basically on the apartment. So it was just one hotel, like I said,
Correct.
in the city of Makarska, and apartments for the rest of the cities.
So that now we are done with the flights and hotels, right? So next comes the most important part when it comes to European countries is the visa, right?
Visa.
So if you can shed some light on what is the visa process and how you went about it, right? Since very few people in my at least acquaintances have traveled to Croatia and Slovenia, right? And those who are looking, they might get a reference on how to approach, right?
Yeah. So both these countries, as I mentioned earlier, are under Schengen area. Now, to give you a quick background, Schengen has this rule. Whenever you are entering into Schengen area, there are some 20 to 24 odd countries which are part of Schengen area. So you can get the visa from the country in which you are entering. That's one choice. Or you can get the visa from the country where, if you're covering multiple countries, like in my case, you can get the visa also from the country where you're staying for most of the time. That is the
Okay.
maximum duration of your trip. So over here, I had a choice of getting the visa from Slovenia, from the Slovenian embassy, or Croatia naturally, because as I said, 9 days. We had spent 9 days in Croatia. Slovenia and Croatia, now both of these countries are relatively small. They have very less slots available from visa point of view to book
Okay.
the slots. Somewhere like a country like France or Italy, you will get ample of slots, or Germany. Maybe daily slots you can find, and they have the visa offices across many cities. Whereas Croatia has, I think so, hardly five offices. One is Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, and Kolkata, Chennai, I
Oh,
think so. Just
okay.
4 5 metro cities.
Okay.
Luckily, there wasn't one. There is an office in Mumbai. But since the appointment slots were less and what not frequently available, I opted an option to get the visa through agent. Now, this is the only part where I took a help from an agent, and so I approached a visa agent from Thane, and she, because those are the people who are continuously in front of screen. So whenever the appointment pops up, they can just book it for you. As I said, the appointments are very infrequent and rare, so you have to be really very attentive to book the
Right.
appointment for Croatia. So I had used a visa agent for it.
Right. So coming to visa again, right? So what was the duration, right? How much? So you guys went in October, right? You guys
October.
visited in October. So when did you apply for visa? What were the key documents you would like to highlight, which are required, which are not typically asked for while applying for other visas? If you can share, highlight those. Anyways, we'll try to share the complete list of documents in the
Yeah,
description, or
yeah,
document
yeah.
in the description. But anything which
Yes,
you thought was asked which you did not think, or someone might not expect, that this is a prerequisite for applying for visa in this case, and by what time before the trip you got your visa in hands?
yeah. So now this thing actually would surprise you
Mm.
because uh, Croatia takes a lot of time to process your visa. Consider 2 months,
Okay.
literally 2 months. So that's a very down point, or a disadvantage point, is what I just point about Croatia, that they take around about 1.5 to 2 months to process your visa. I had applied for visa and I got an appointment on 31st July, and I got my visa. I got a visa in our hands somewhere around 25th September. So it was like that close,
Oh,
just 2 weeks
2 weeks before the
remaining
trip.
for our trips. Yeah, 2 weeks
Yeah.
before trip. So this is typically I would say a bad point because you are not sure whether you will get the visa or not. You will get it if your documentation, everything is to the point, there is no problem. But still, that you have that anxiety, right?
Correct.
Because you're all prepared, everything is prepared, your bags, you're prepared for clothing and everything, and then bookings are done. And then if what if you don't get it? What if that 10% or 5% chance hits you? So that is the point. But yeah, that is what it is for
Yeah.
Croatia. In terms of documents, it is pretty much standard process which is applicable for all Schengen countries.
Okay.
So major documents which I would like to highlight is a bank statement. Then there is a specific guideline on how much balance you need to maintain. It depends on number of days you're going to stay on in your trip. So typically it is like 100 to 120 euros per day, which you need to have in your account. So that translates to around 9-10,000 rupees, or like around that 10-11,000 rupees multiplied by days. This is the bare minimum balance you must keep per person in your account. If someone is sponsoring your trip, for example, if someone's parents, or let's say if husband and wife are traveling, if husband is sponsoring for wife or wife is sponsoring for husband or children or whatever it might be, then that person's documents, also bank details, bank account balance also needs to be submitted. Statement also needs to be joined with your documents at the time of applying for visa. So this is one thing, the bank statement for last 6 months, and
Okay.
it has to be attested by the bank. So you will have to go walk to the bank and get the stamp and signature on that with the closing balance as per the requirement which I just mentioned. So this is one thing. Second thing is letter of employment. Now, I am a salaried person. My wife is also a salaried person. She is a doctor, but she works for a center. So we both had our employment letters given by our employers. And if you have salary slips, now my wife doesn't get because she's from a medical background. So they don't have a fixed salary as such. So they don't have a salary slip concept.
Yeah.
But if you are a salaried person, then you will need to submit salary slips of 6 months also, along with that, along with the letter of employment. That's like a permission letter. Where I work in MNC bank, so I get a letter in some format where the bank gives me a permission to travel abroad. It is similar in when in like in
Correct.
case of salaried people. So that's the second thing. Third most important thing is the itinerary. So whatever bookings you have made, flight bookings, your hotel bookings, is and yeah, those are the most important things you need to attach with your visa documents. And then there is something called as cover letter, which you need
Mhm.
for applying Schengen visa. It's not needed, I think so, for all other visas for other countries, but yes, Schengen visa does need it. It is like a cover letter where you mention this is the itinerary, and then if you're traveling across different cities, then how are you going to travel?
Yeah.
So my means of travel was bus. I had not booked the bus tickets in so much in advance, because you can get the bus tickets very close to the trip also, or you can get it right away at the destination. So it is not very mandatory to book the internal travels. Main thing is your to and fro travel, just to make sure that you are actually traveling on those dates and you're going to go back to your country. That's what they need to see. And whether you have booked hotel stays. So this are, I would, which I can recollect, and I know these are 3-4 top of the list documents
Yeah.
which you need to have at least.
So I think so we'll pin the overall list of documents and even a sample
Yes,
cover letter. We'll share it in the description so that whoever is planning to travel to Croatia and Slovenia, they can utilize the same. So,
correct.
so now that visa procedure is done, right? So now we are all ready, right? Now is the day of the trip. Now the key question which comes to mind is when traveling, when once you reach or land in the country, anything important you have to remember, or how do you approach, right? You are landed in the country, the immigration process, everything is done. How do you travel? Do you pre-book any cab? How do you purchase the SIM card, right? So there are small things, right? Like the local SIM card which you purchase. So
Correct.
where do you prefer to purchase? Do you purchase it at the airports, or do you wait or buy it in a local shop once you are in the city? Do you pre-book a taxi to the hotel, or do you rent a car? What is your preference when you travel to, or maybe you can just say about Slovenia and Croatia in this case?
Yeah. So see, first talking about the SIM card point. Definitely, I see the best option could be if you get international SIM or international plan activated on your SIM, prepaid postpaid from India itself, so that you are always connected. From the point you touch the airport in Europe, you are connected. But that is a little bit expensive. For Vodafone, I browsed through the plans. They have plans for 5 days, 10 days, 15 days. So 15-day plan was costing around, I think so, 3,000 or 3,500, and it had a very minimal talk time, and I think so 10 GB data or 5 GB data. I don't remember. You can just Google it, or you can go through the VI app, or if you have Geo, then go to the Geo app or any other app, Airtel app, and see the plans. You can easily browse through the plans, but definitely they are expensive. One thing. Second thing is the most cheapest option is to buy it from the airport, or if you're okay to hang on a little bit, if you are like very much comfortable to travel in different countries, different depends on person to person. You can buy it through in the city, in the market as well. Sims are usually very uh, easily available across newspaper kiosk in European countries. At least that was for Croatia and Slovenia. In our case, we had bought when we landed in Ljubljana, capital of Slovenia. We bought a SIM from airport. There was a small stall, and it was for 5 days, but it was only valid in Ljubljana. That was one thing. But we got it for really cheap. We got it like per day 1 GB or 2 GB data and some, I think so 100 minutes or 200 minutes of talk time, and that was for just for €4. So translating into INR, it's 350 400 rupees. Uh,
Okay.
then when we went to Croatia, when we traveled from Ljubljana to Croatia, we were traveling from Ljubljana to Split via their capital city Zagreb. So we had a bus, but it was a connecting bus. So we had a 1 or 2 hours kind of layover at Zagreb bus station. So at the bus station, there was a kiosk. They had a Sims. So there we bought, I think so, 10 days plan, 10 or 15 days plan. And again, it was with 30 GB data and some 100, 200 minutes talk time. And again, that was also around €6 or €7. So in all, for both, like both the countries, for total stay of 12 days, we spent somewhere around 10, €11 on SIM, okay, per
Okay.
person, translating to 1,000 INR at max, 1,000 rupees. So for both of us, it was 2,000. We took SIMs. And one thing I would like to suggest, it's my strong suggestion, whether you're in a group, you're a family or something, always buy SIM for per person. Don't do it like when if you're traveling like three people, then don't be with such a thought process, such a thinking that okay, let's just buy one SIM and then we can
Yeah.
share or we'll have Wi-Fi. For most of the places, no, it's not the case. Yes, there are Wi-Fi's in many places, but you will be often disconnected, and if at all, if there is some emergency, it will be very difficult for you to contact your person. Okay, so always
Right.
buy it for everyone. So for us, it was like I said, around 22 euros, 2,000 rupees max. Had I bought the international roaming plan from India itself, it would have costed me 3,000, 3,500 rupees per person. So it was just, that's quite cheap. So that is my recommendation, to buy it on the airport. Then second, traveling the first day, traveling from the airport to the city. Yes, you can book. There are some apps where you can book your transport or your taxis. Taxis from airport to city center, assuming you will stay somewhere in city center or any other area. If it is city center, it would be most of the times it would be a little bit far, because airports are usually located at a quite a reasonable distance, far distance from the city, main city. That is
Yeah.
how in European cities it is. So taxes, to highlight, will cost a little bit more. So definitely expect somewhere around 20, 25 euros, definitely, for a taxi. So you can pre-book it, or if you want to travel by taxi itself, the best option is Uber. You can go to the
Yeah.
airport and just book Uber. Uber is like it's present in most of the European cities. With along with they have their local taxi apps as well. Like we have Ola, Grab.
So what did you use? Primarily, did you use Uber during your whole trip in Slovenia and Croatia?
In my case, in our case, when we landed in Ljubljana, we didn't use Uber. We got a city bus. So yes, that coming to the second option, which is again a widely used option, is city bus, or sometimes there are trains also. There are stations which are very close to the airports in some cities, or trams. So these are two, three ways to basically public transport. So that is another good option in Europe. Public transport is good in Europe, and city buses in case of Ljubljana, Ljubljana Airport had city bus at I think every hour they had it every hour. So after every hour, there was city bus which will transfer you to the main bus station, which is located in the city center. And as I said, as I mentioned, our hotels, apartments were always closer to city center. So while I mean, when a trip started, when we landed in Ljubljana, we used city bus. While coming back to Zagreb airport, at that time I had used Uber, and
Okay.
it did cost me around 22, 23 euros.
Okay. So now we can maybe start through the trip, right? So what all you covered? So you landed in Ljubljana in Slovenia, right? So I guess you
Yeah,
spent 2 or 3 days in Slovenia, right? In Ljubljana. So
correct.
you so what are the top spots you covered, and what all you did not cover which you think should have been covered, if there are any, so you can maybe share those, and any tips you would like to share with if anyone is visiting, right, to keep in mind while visiting or covering Slovenia.
Correct. So in Slovenia, major attractions are around their capital only. It's a very small country, very beautiful, very less explored, but it will give you glimpses of Switzerland, Austria, because it is quite near to Austria. I think they share some of their border with Austria also. So it has that kind of typical look as Switzerland, Austria has. The major attractions which you should cover when you're visiting Ljubljana is, of course, you can stroll down the streets of Ljubljana. That's irrespective, and that's there in each city. So that is someone might say that it is not a attraction or it is not a spot, but European cities are very charmful, and walking down the streets of the European cities, it itself is an attraction, and actually, to be honest, that's the part we enjoyed the most, and that's what I have enjoyed when I had visited Russia also back in 2018. So that is there. Along with that, if you are going to Ljubljana, then there is a Ljubljana Castle, a city castle, which you should definitely explore. There is a funicular which takes you to the top of the castle. You can climb also, but for free. But there is a funicular which will take you to the top of the castle, and from there you get the view of the entire city. Is very good, worth doing it. That's the one thing. Then second thing is there are famous UNESCO World Heritage Site caves. The name of those caves are Postojna Caves. Those are like you can go by bus or by train from Ljubljana. It's a 2 hours journey from Ljubljana to Postojna Caves. And third most important and third very famous attraction is Lake Bled. So Lake Bled is like one of the most visited or most famous attraction in entire Europe. So it's a very beautiful place. There is a castle where you can climb. Of course, you have to do a bit of a hike if you want to go to the Bled Castle. But the views from the Bled Castle, the view of the lake which you get, if you just Google it, Lake Bled, you will get that view. That is just a phenomenal view, and that all effort to climb that castle for 1 hour. It will take 1 hour to hike through it. Climbing, as in not climbing, there are steps, but it's a bit of uneven steps. So you can call it as a hike. So that hike is totally worth. So these are the three major attractions. Then there are some church and cathedrals, small cathedrals, although not very big, which are in Ljubljana, which you can cover. But it's okay. I mean, even if you skip them, that's okay. But these are the three major attractions, and these three can be easily done in 2 days. So 2 nights stay is what all you need to cover Ljubljana.
Uh,
Now coming to yeah, so coming to you asked about the spot which I couldn't cover. The biggest, I think, the regret of the trip is the Postana Caves. Unfortunately, we couldn't cover it, and it was a very good learning for me also. and for people who could be watching this video, is something that we had originally planned it on the day when we reached Ljubljana. So we landed, as I said, around 9:30 at Ljubljana, and I think uh, we reached the our apartments at around 11:45, 12 p.m. The check-in was at 2, but we got the room early, 12. We're a bit tired because of the overnight journey, and of course, you don't get good sleep when you are traveling via overnight flight. So we took a rest, and then we decided to leave our hotel at around 1:30 p.m. and get a bus to Postojna Caves. Now, Postojna Caves is a very weird timing. They have their last entry at around 4 p.m. So it was a we thought it will be enough because it's a 1.5 hour by bus, around 90 minutes by bus. So then I could see some bus at 2:15 in one of the app. But when we actually went there, we found that the bus was not there at that timing, and that next bus was only around 3:30 or 3:50 or 3:30, and it could have reached by the time at the time when the queues are closed. So that was something which was a bit disappointing for us. It was a first day, but then we thought it's okay, can happen. Uh, any which ways, whenever you travel to Europe for such trips, even with the organized trips, also there is, of course, you're bound to miss one or two spots. Um, on next day, we went to Bled. Now, Bled is like a half day trip from Ljubljana. You at least need 5-6 hours because it will take another 90 minutes from Ljubljana by bus to reach Bled. Bus is a very convenient mode. Trains, you might not get a direct train. You'll have to change the trains. Of course, it's a very scenic route by a train also, but a train is a bit of a hassle. It's a bit of a hassle with train. So, the easiest way is bus. If you are, as I said, if you are going to hike and go to the top of the Blade Castle, it will take you another 1 hour. By the way, Bled Castle has an entry ticket. Around 25-30 euros is the entry ticket over there, and there is a restaurant at the top of the Bled Castle, from where you can enjoy the views of the Lake Bled. And one thing which I would suggest if you're hiking and taking all those efforts for 1 hour 90 minutes, and when you reach at the top of the castle, there is a small restaurant, and there you can enjoy Bled cream cake. It is superb, out of the world. You can just take one portion; it's sufficient for two people. And whoever um open to drink, then they can definitely try a drink called as Aperol Spritz. Aperol Spritzer is what they call. It's orange wine, which is manufactured in Italy, and it is very widely commonly available across Slovenia and Croatia.
Okay.
So these are the 2-3 attractions, main attractions. There is another attraction that is Vintger Gorge. But Winter Gorge actually closes, I think so, somewhere from 5th October, and it is closed till mid of March or April. Okay, so it's a very scenic place which you can cover. Fourth place you can add to your list if you're going to Ljubljana, but then check the dates before going to Winter Gorge, because if it's closed, then there is no sense going all the way because it will take another. Again, it's not to close to Ljubljana. So let's say you're going from Bled to Winter Gorge, you might get a direct bus or you might not, because there are very few direct buses. So you might have to come again back to Ljubljana, because Ljubljana is the capital. Most of the buses are starting from Ljubljana. So you'll have to come back to Ljubljana and then again take a bus. It's again 90 minutes or something from Ljubljana. So just check whether it's open and then plan it. But yeah, that can
Okay.
be a fourth place you can add to your list.
So you guys went from Slovenia to Croatia, right? So
Yes.
so this was what, day three? Day three of
Yes.
the. Yeah.
So basically, on day three, we went from Ljubljana to Split. So now, You can go to Zagreb also, but as I had mentioned earlier, Zagreb is like not that touristy. There are very few tourist attractions. So we did a journey from Ljubljana to Split. Split is a coastal city of Croatia, and actually speaking, Ljubljana to Split is a very long journey. So basically, we had to change our bus at Zagreb bus station. Ljubljana to Zagreb was around about 2 hours in the morning. We took a morning bus, 7 a.m., 7:15 a.m. bus. So it took 2 hours from Ljubljana to Split. We reached around 9:15, and within next 45 minutes, we had our second bus to Split from Zagreb to Split. Now that was, I think, around about 5 hours journey, 5.5 hours journey. So it's a pretty long journey. I think the distance would be anywhere around 250 to 300 kilometers, if I am not wrong, around 300 kilometers.
So, just a few questions over here. So, are the so you booked this buses when like a day before during the trip or like 2 months back?
I know I booked this buses, I think so, just 1 week before the trip. We started the trip after the visa because I think the bus bookings is not totally refundable. It's like 50% or 40% something like that. So in which ways you usually get a ticket. And since October, like I said, is a shoulder
It's
season,
not
so
a
it
peak
has its
season.
benefits. Yeah. Maybe in July or August, you might have to book a little bit in advance, maybe 1 month in advance, because due to rush, you might not get a ticket at last hour.
So another question is, you took a bus to travel from Ljubljana to Split. So
Split.
are there any flights between the two locations, and how does it compare in terms of cost, like a bus or a flight? What is more convenient or what is more cheaper in that sense?
Actually speaking, that in all, it doesn't save much of your time because again the same thing. You will go by bus or train from Ljubljana to Zagreb. From Ljubljana to Zagreb, nobody will take a flight because it's hardly 2 to 2.5 hours by both bus and train. So you'll go by bus and train. Both bus and train stations are again at the heart of the city of Zagreb, city center. So if you want to take a flight to Split, you will have to go to the airport. It will take another your 1 hour, and you have to reach
Correct,
at least
correct.
45 minutes. Yeah, so it
See,
doesn't make much sense. Plus, money wise, there is a lot of difference. I think so. Flight from Zagreb to Split was, if I remember correctly, at that time it was around 3,500 or 4,000 with check-in luggage. Without check-in luggage, it was a little bit cheaper. But of course, we'll have bags. So with check-in luggage, it was around 4,000 or something, 4,000 something, and bus was around 2,800 or 2,000 rupees bus ticket. So it was
okay.
double or more
Yeah.
than double, maybe a little bit.
So, right. So you reached Split, and so what was your then plan in Split? For how many days you spent, and what all you covered in Split?
So we stayed in Split for 3 nights, and that particular day when we reached Split, it was almost evening. So we just checked in into our Airbnb apartments, and then we checked in our apartment around 3:45, 4. Again, the bus station was quite nearby, Cornwallis, because it was city center. And that day, I think we just relaxed. We took a tour on the Split Promenade. As I said, just strolling on the streets, walking on the streets of the European cities itself is one of the major attractions. So I like it basically, me and my wife. So we just took a stroll, and then at that time we actually went to 2, 3 like tourist offices because we had to cover two major tourist attractions in Split, for which people do come to Split. So to book those things, to book those tours, 1 day tours, we just went around two, 3 shops.
Super.
So day two, like I said, we had two options, two day tours. Basically, one is to Plitvice National Park, and second major attraction in Split is 5 island tour along with Blue Cave. Now, Blue Cave is very unique. There are only two blue caves, and they can be only accessed through sea waters. So it is like in middle of ocean, in middle of nowhere. Okay, so there are there are two basically blue caves. One is in Croatia and second is in Italy. Only two major blue caves in Europe. So it is a really worth not missing place. But just to give a background, you will have to choose wisely. So going to Blue Cave depends on the climate. So if the climate is not good, if it is there is rain prediction, if it rains, the Blue Cave tours will be cancelled because, like I said, it's in the middle of ocean. So if the water level is high, or if the climate, if there is a lot of wind, rain, your tour can get cancelled. So the first thing which we did is on day one when we reached to Split, like I mentioned, we went to 2, 3 tourist offices, and then we got an cost estimate of the both these tours, and they have the weather predictions with them. So they will suggest you, okay, try to do the Blue Cave tour tomorrow along with the 5 islands. Tomorrow, because tomorrow is the weather prediction is good. It's going to be sunny, less windy, so the chances that you will be able to cover the Blue Cave are more. So if they say that, then grab that opportunity and go for the Blue Cave on the first day. In our case, the climate predictions were pretty much sunny, bright, and less windy for next 3, 4 days. So we had a choice, to cover the Blue Cave tour on second day or third day. So that's why we chose to cover Plitvice Lakes National Park on day two, and then Blue Cave and 5 Island tour on day three. But
Okay.
someone might not have, and that's the another reason you should have 2 full days, two
That
proper full days in Split. Because if the climate is not good on day one, then you can still try the Blue Cave tour on day two. And if at all the tour gets cancelled due to climatic conditions, the tourist people, the organizers, they refund you the money. So
okay.
that was the reason. So we chose on second day, we went to Plitvice Lakes National Park. This is a huge national park. It is not like a bird or animal sanctuary. Basically, it is filled with flora and fauna, rich flora and fauna, very enriching, very good air. And just to mention, it is a proper hike over there again. Expect that you will almost hike or walk for round about 7 to 8 kilometers easily in that day, or even more than that, maybe a kilometer. So, but it's totally worth the way they have maintained it. There's nothing like that. Also, it has, I think, round about, I don't remember the figure, but more than 20 waterfalls, so 20, 25 waterfalls.
Oh,
Where do you
nice.
get so many waterfalls in one place, in one park? That too. And there are some, I think, 5 to 6 different trails you can follow and cover the park. It's so huge. It is spread across acres and acres of land. The waterfalls, some of the waterfalls are really huge. If you just Google about it, you will get a lot of things. The whole park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so it comes under directly into UNESCO's purview. Now, coming to how you reach or how you do the tour, I think here you will need some support from local tourist, organizations. Now you can book the tour online via Get Your Guide, via Tour or Klook. These are the three platforms which I know
Correct.
popularly. There could be another one as well, but these are the prominent ones. And you can book from there. They will have their meeting point. You will have to reach at the meeting point early in the morning, and then they'll have a bus. It will be on shared
Mhm.
basis. They will take you to the park, and then it's like a 4 or 5 hours tour in the park. There is one tip for this type of attractions. If you pay over there in cash in euros, they will reduce your amount slightly. If you tell them, I want to swipe the card or make online payment or something, then you
I had
won't
a
get that
similar
discount.
experience in Turkey
Yeah.
also. The
Yes.
local tours, if you pay in cash over there, they offer some discount.
I offer some discount, correct. And the amount which they were offering, if you pay it online, was exactly similar to what it was on Get Your Guide or Vector. So we did the cash payment and booked our tour. On day two, we had to start early. You will have to start your day at 6 a.m. in the morning. The meeting time was somewhere around 6:15, 6:30. It was a joint, it was shared tour. It was a proper huge bus, very comfortable bus. And it takes around 3 hours to reach that destination. One benefit of booking with these tours is that you won't have to stand in queue, for tickets
Right.
because uh, now any which ways it was a shoulder season, so there was not much queue. But in July and August, what I heard from our guide over there, and there is a guide as well for the whole tour, so it will be guided too. You don't have to worry which trail to take and which route to follow because it's pretty confusing. It's a huge park. They give you the maps, but it's very difficult to figure out which trail would be the best one because there is one biggest waterfall. They call it as the giant lip or something. I forgot the name, but big lip or giant lip. So how to reach to that particular point? You have to be very wise because you have limited time, your day, 4 5 hours. So doing it on your own could be a little bit difficult. So it's better you take this guided tour, online or offline, whichever way you want, but take it. And like it's like I said, we start early. You reach there around 10:30, 11, where they give you one break for washroom and tea, coffee in between. Eating things, you can carry stuff to eat inside the park. You can buy it somewhere in Split only near the meeting point. There are some breakfast places which open pretty early at 5:36 a.m. in the morning. There is a excellent place on Split Promenade called as Bobby's, which I remember, and the name which I remember. It opens pretty early around 5:36, so you can grab some sandwiches or roll. They serve very good rolls and sandwiches, and you can take it over there because your lunch would be pretty late on that day. And then after 3:15, when you leave, they will stop somewhere in between at a restaurant on the highway, very near to the park, next 15 minutes, where you can have the lunch. So your lunch will be almost at 3:34. It will be a late lunch. Hmm. Probably you will back in Split by evening 7:30, 8 p.m. After doing the trip.
Okay. Okay. So one is the national park, and then the next day you covered the Blue Caves, right?
Yes. So just on national park, I would like to add one good tip which I understood over there. Like I said, the national park is between Zagreb and Split. So Zagreb is at the north. You can just imagine this. Uh, National Park is somewhere in the center, and Split is towards the south of Croatia. If you look at the Croatia's map, now, as I said, you'll come from Zagreb to Split. Okay, so from north to south, and for the park, the next day, the tour, you will again go towards the center. So you are traveling the whole distance and then going halfway back. Okay,
Yeah.
so or let's say if you do this activity from Zagreb, you can do this same activity, same day tour from Zagreb as well. So there are tours starting from Zagreb as well, like they are from Split. So again, from Zagreb, it is close to 2.5 hours drive. There is not much of a difference. From here, it is Split is 3 hours, 3 hours 15 minutes something, and Zagreb it's 2 hours 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just a difference of 30 40 minutes. So both the sides it will be same thing. You cover and then go back. Now, when we did book this particular tour from the local tourist agency in Split, we understood that they have a tour where it starts from vice versa as well. Okay, it starts from Zagreb. So basically, you start early in the morning at 6 a.m. from Zagreb. You go to Plitvice along with your luggage. You can carry your check-in bag bags and your cabin bags. So you can carry your bags. You can go along with it. Then at 6:30, you start from Zagreb. You come to the national park. You do the tour of national park for again 3 4 hours. Everything in that time, the drivers they will exchange the luggage. Basically, you save your travel time, you save the day, you use the
Right.
day to the best, which we didn't knew because I didn't had that kind of information searching online. But someone
Correct.
who is really going to go to Croatia, this is my strong advice, do that. You will save your day unnecessary
Correct.
traveling. And then when you cover the park, you will go to Split, so you'll go to different bus
Correct.
to Split. And it
Right.
goes vice versa also. If someone wants to do exactly
Right.
opposite, it will be exactly opposite for them.
But that would require, I guess, booking the buses from the same travel agency, right? Or do they exchange
Yeah,
bags
see,
between different travel
see, that's
agencies also?
yeah, it's the same travel agency. So they do it on daily
Yeah.
basis.
Correct, correct. So, but if one is booking prior to the trip, right, a week before the buses, they should ensure that the buses should be booked. Or
They don't
how
have
does one
no,
book?
they don't have to book individual buses. It's a part of the tour.
Okay,
It's
okay,
totally part of tour.
understand.
Okay, so
Okay,
you tell them that this is they will, or you tell them, you ask them that do you have this arrangement? If they have, they tell okay, you can have. Maybe there will be some 10
understood.
20 euros extra for it, but that's okay. This is a very
Correct.
convenient tour.
Right. Moving on, I guess next day is the day of the magical blue caves, right? So that is something which I came to know about when you first shared photos of the trip on our WhatsApp group, right? So take us through the trip.
So here I will like to again mention one incident which happened with us. Um, what happened is on day two when we were coming back from Plitvice Lakes National Park, we were in bus. It was around 6:37, and we had booked the Blue Cave tour also with the same tour agency. They called us telling that would you mind shifting your Blue Cave tour to day after tomorrow? I asked why. So they gave me reason that the climatic conditions are expected to be better on day after tomorrow rather than tomorrow. Okay, so I was bit this was a bit fishy because the previous day on day one when we went to a couple of tour agencies, all of them told us that next 3 4 days it's going to be it is expected it will be a bright, sunny, and excellent climate for Blue Cave. So you can do it anytime next 3 4 days. And then all of a sudden, this tour agency is calling us and telling us that there is we are expecting not a very good climate tomorrow, and day after tomorrow would be better. So, anyways, but again, I said no. We actually have planned our journey from Split to our next city, Dubrovnik, on day after tomorrow. So they said okay, and again in 5 minutes they called us and told us that we are canceling the tour. You can take the refund, or if you want, you can book it for day after tomorrow. So I said no, I will take the refund. And now the case, what would have happened is something that they were not able to fill in all the seats. See, now for
Okay.
Blue Cave tour also, Blue Cave and 5 Island tour, they at least need 6 7 people in a speedboat. So they might not have got that many people, 6 7 people, and that's why they just bluffed was that
Okay.
the climatic conditions are not. So I had to go there. I went to the office. We took the refund, and then we went to other travel agencies' office over there. I tried to see if I can get something on Get Your Guide at that time, but by that time Get Your Guide was almost full. We didn't had any tour left, so we had to go to another travel agency office, and then we booked it from there. We asked them that this same thing, that is the climate expected a bit harsh tomorrow, windy tomorrow. Again, we checked across 2 3 travel agencies, couple of travel agencies. All of them told that no, tomorrow we are expecting a very calm climate. So we got it done from other travel agencies, and the next day again you have to start early at around 7:30 or something. They will call you again to the meeting point over there. They will take you in a speedboat to Blue Cave. Now, here, one thing to mention, whoever has the problem of seasickness, please make sure you pop up one or two pills because it is going to be a very fast and bumpy ride. And the speedboats, they operate the speedboat at a immensely fast speed because they have to, because the Blue Cave is quite far away from the mainland, the mainland of Croatia. Okay, so by speedboat it was almost 2 hours. So it took almost 2 hours to go to island where they will transfer you into a different boat. Like I said, a very small boat.
Right.
So you will go there with the pilot. There will be a guide who will take care of all tickets and everything. So Blue Cave also has a ticket, and the cost which this travel agencies will tell you will be most of the times it will be along with the ticket. Total time of that tour would be 20 25 minutes, but the experience is amazing. I'm pretty sure you have not seen anything like that in your lifetime. Since I hadn't witnessed that. It's a totally natural phenomenon. So the phenomenon is like the sunlight passes through a very small slit in the rocks. There's a cave inside, and it passes through that small slit. The sunlight pass, and when it enters inside the cave, it goes through the water and it reflects from the seabed. The seabed is of limestone. So basically, that area, the seabed, the many patches of the seabed are of limestone. So the light reflects in such a way from that limestone that the whole cave is illuminated in blue color. Like sometime you first when you enter, you might feel someone has actually put up a light, a blue light or something, but it's totally due to this amazing, miraculous phenomenon. So very, very well, very worth spot. Once you cover the Blue Cave, you complete the tour of Blue Cave. You come back to that small station or port of Blue Cave. Then you get into your speedboat and you go for the next island. So the two, three islands which they cover. And yeah, swimming enthusiast, this is like a paradise for all the swimming enthusiasts because they will take to one particular island. I think so. There's a Blue Lagoon and Bisovo. I think Blue Lagoon is the place. Blue Lagoon is a place where it's like they will stop the boat in between, and you can
Mhm.
actually jump into the water. Okay.
Okay.
Also, there is some cliff jumping which people can try, but I think due to shoulder season, the cliff jumping area was closed, so people had to jump from the from the boat itself. So whoever knows how to swim, it's like the most amazing experience you can have. It's a crystal clear blue water, and you can swim for almost uh, 15-20 minutes, half an hour. They wait there for almost for half an hour at least. So now there are two, three islands. There is one Bisovo Island, and another one is Hawar Island, which they will take. Every island you will get almost 1 or 2 hours to explore the place, explore the island, and at the end of the tour, they will take you back to Split. So the whole tour is like will take again easily around 7 to 8 hours. So you start at 8:30 in the morning, and you come back around 4:30 or 5 in the evening.
The national park and Blue Caves, right? So the 2 day tours in 2 days in Split. So are there any other things you covered in Split, or you moved on to a next destination, I mean, Dubrovnik?
Yeah, so on fourth day we covered Diocletian Palace, which I mentioned. Again, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But
Okay.
you can cover that pretty much in 1 or 2 hours. We did the same thing. We just took a tour. We didn't buy any tickets to enter a particular areas of the palace because the tickets are quite expensive. And on the fourth day, during daytime, there was a lot of rush inside the palace. So we just
Okay.
took a stroll. We just went over the palace, and then we just took some photos, and we covered the whole palace within one 90 minutes, 60 to 90
Okay.
minutes. And from there we had a bus to Dubrovnik at around 12:30. So we had to complete the palace and everything till that time, and we then started our journey to Dubrovnik.
Okay.
Again, now Split to Dubrovnik is a long journey. Nearly 4 to 5 hours. One can take a flight also in this case if they wish to. Uh, the flight is I think 1 hour, and there is a third option also. You can go by ferry also. There are very
Okay.
good ferries from Port of Split to Port of Dubrovnik, and ferries also would roughly take around 4 to 5 hours, like similar to bus. So
Okay.
it doesn't make any difference, but bus is a cheaper option as compared to ferry. Ferry tickets will be around 4 to 4,500 rupees INR. Bus ticket will be half of that, 2,000 to 2,200.
Okay.
So that is
So,
how I think we reached at in Dubrovnik by around 5:30 in the evening, around 5 p.m. in the evening.
okay. And how long was the stay in Dubrovnik? You stayed in Dubrovnik for.
We stayed in Dubrovnik for 2 nights
Okay.
again. So this was the day one when we arrived in Dubrovnik,
Yeah.
like our day four in Croatia. Evening time, we just checked into our Airbnb and then we just relaxed and then we went to the old town. Now, Dubrovnik's major attraction is its old town. It's the place where the Game of Thrones was shot. It is the King's Landing. People who have seen Game of Thrones, it has been a major shooting location of King's Landing for most of the time in the 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, 7, 8 seasons. Dubrovnik has been the place where the shots of King's Landing have been taken. Most of the shots of King's Landing have been taken. So everything to do, whatever is there in Dubrovnik, most of the things are in the old town. So you have churches, cathedrals, fortress, and everything to explore in the old town. So we went over there in Old Town, had a dinner in Indian restaurant. There is only one Indian restaurant in Dubrovnik where we had Indian dinner.
And so next day you covered Dubrovnik. So what was the plan? You would had again a date a tour package booked for the same, or it was ad hoc?
So there is a day pass which you can buy online, or you can go to any store, any departmental store near the old town, and you can buy it over there as well. So the day pass will give you access to almost around 20 to 25 places which are
Okay.
within the old town itself. Old town is pretty small, very attractive, but pretty small. You can cover it within 1 day or two. And like I said, there are cathedrals, there are some museums, and one of the most famous attraction is the fortress. They call it a city walls. So from city walls, when you climb those walls, but one disclaimer, there are a lot of steps. If you are going to cover the entire city wall, there are more than 2000 steps which you will have to climb up, climb down. So it's like a proper hike or trek, you can say. But we, I think, covered around 1000 or 1100 steps. We covered half of the city walls, from which the views are excellent. So you get the whole view of Old Town. You get the view of the ocean. It's very much recommendable for people who can, climb those many steps.
So is this a guided tour, or when you say a day pass, is it like you have to explore by yourself and it's like an entry ticket for all the spots?
Yes, it's a guide. It's not a guided tour. It's just an entry pass. So basically, you will get a map along with the
Okay.
pass, and then you can go through the map. Again, like I said, Old Town is a very small place. You can
Okay.
explore it on your own, unless now if you want, like to know about the place, their history in very detail, and then there are some guided tours available. Those are available on Gator Guide also, or there will be walking tours which like are pretty common in Europe. So you can join any walking which will cost you around 10 15 euros or something. Just take the day pass. Important thing about a day pass is a day pass is active for 24 hours, not from
Okay.
the time you purchase it. From the time you use it for first time in
Oh,
any of these 20 25 places. So
okay.
in my case, we bought this passes around 11 a.m. in the morning. And why I'm telling the time is we activated it at around 12 noon, 12:30 for the city walls first. The guy recommended us, the departmental store guy recommended us to cover the city walls first. So we took that pass and we activated 12:30 because on next day I had booked one Game of Thrones walking tour, which I'll come to it later.
Yeah.
They take through all the Game of Thrones, locations. Now
Yeah.
that particular tour needs an access to one of the place which needs ticket, and that place is covered in your day pass. So to
Okay.
avoid spending again, plan your day pass starting time accordingly. Also, you get day pass for 5 days also, 3 days and 5 days also, if I'm not
Okay.
wrong.
Okay.
So that is like we covered, as I said, we covered city walls. Then there is 2 3 uh, museums inside Old Town. There is one oldest pharmacy which you can cover. So there is one maritime museum which you can cover. So I would say there are top 6 7 attractions which you should try to cover in the Old Town. So this is how we spend the day. At the evening, we there is a ropeway, there is a cable car now, which takes you to a mountain. top of one hill,
Hmm.
from where you get to see the entire Old Town, the view of entire Old Town, and that is like too good. Everyone should do it. Try doing it in at the evening time. We also did it evening time around sunset time. We took the ropeway cable car
Hmm.
at 6 p.m. So that you can see the sunset and you can
Hmm.
spend some time over there at top of that hill. So this is how we covered our day two. It was like we covered pretty much everything in Dubrovnik on day two.
Tell me more about the Game of Thrones walking tour. I guess I am more interested in listening to that
Yeah,
because that is the main association of everyone, I guess, who has seen Game of Thrones, right?
correct.
Croatia and Game of Thrones.
So the Game of Thrones tour was on next day. So I booked it from Get Your Guide. They will call you to a particular location inside the old town, and then they will take you. It is a 2 to 3 hour tour. They will take you through the shooting locations where the main scenes of Game of Thrones were shot. There, one of the shot which I remember is in the series Cersei threatening Littlefinger to kill him. There is a dialogue from Littlefinger. Littlefinger says, "Knowledge is power," and then Cersei calls in guards and they grab him, and she just walks around and says, "Power is power." And then she
Yeah.
releases him. So that is a very famous scene which people Game of Thrones fans will remember. So it was shot in one of the fort. The name of the fort is Lornik Fort. I might be spelling it wrong, but yes, it is one of the place for which we need the entry ticket, and it is covered in the day pass, which I was mentioning earlier. So that is one place. Then there is a another very prominent and famous location in Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones fans again will recollect it. Is the Blackwater Bay. So
Yeah.
Blackwater Bay is where a lot of scenes were shot. There was again one scene where Cersei and Littlefinger were speaking with each other, and the shot has been taken from behind. So the back is facing to the camera. So in this guided tour, that person he asked us, you can maybe walk on that aisle. It's like a platform. You can walk onto the aisle. You stand there, and then I will take a picture of you. So what he did is he had the photographs of Game of Thrones with him, book,
Yeah.
which he used to show us that this was shot here, this was shot there. So he opened that particular photo of Cersei and Littlefinger standing, and we like me and my wife were standing in that place, and he just took the photo. So the half of the photo is that particular actual
Exact
image
replica.
of, yeah, exact replica, and we were standing. But it was fun. I mean, for people who have watched Game of Thrones, it's like a treat for them. The
Right.
Dubrovnik actually came to limelight because of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
so the guide told us that there were people, you won't believe, there are people actually who came and they're finding where is this place, Blackwater Bay. And then they came to know, no, there is no such place as Blackwater Bay. It was just one of the shot. There are also that is a very interesting tour. People should do it, whoever has seen it, because they will tell you how they do the editing and where this scene was shot, how it was edited. Then
Correct.
lot of other things. Then some other scenes as well. But these are the prominent scenes which I also remember as a Game of Thrones
Yeah.
fan from there.
Right.
And yeah, sorry, and another one biggest scene which everybody will know and will remember, not a great scene though, but Walk of Shame.
Yeah.
So that
Walk of
has
shame.
been Walk of Shame. Yeah. So Cersei's Walk of Shame. So
Yeah.
now that entire scene has been shot in Dubrovnik,
Yeah.
and Dubrovnik was closed for 7 days because they had to shoot it in a very secretive environment
Yeah.
because of that sensitivity of that scene. And they had, I think, the guy was telling this story to us. Shut this. They had asked shops to closed down for a week. HBO paid off their week's business to them in advance, some 2 times of that,
Good.
and then the scene was shot. That place is Jesuit Stairs. That place is called as Jesuit Stairs. It's in that it's a free thing. You don't need a ticket for it, but yeah, you will be easily able to identify and see. Again, the guide will show you the photos and
I,
then the place of that.
I guess visiting Croatia makes more sense when you have seen the Game of Thrones, because there is a kind of
Absolutely,
association you develop with the place where it is shot, right?
absolutely.
Uh,
There are some scenes shot in Split also, but they're
yeah,
less famous. The ones which were
yeah,
shot in Dubrovnik because it was King's Landing,
yeah.
that became very famous.
I
So
guess the
these
Song
are
of
the
Ice and
three,
Fire would
four.
be playing in the background the whole time you were in Dubrovnik.
Yeah, of course. I mean, now I have heard it was a like a bit of a shoulder season, but in peak seasons you will find freelance enthusiasts like we see in videos in Europe. You'll find a lot of enthusiasts with violins and guitars playing Game of
Yeah.
Thrones tune in the main places of that old town. So it's totally a vibe of Game of Thrones. Then there is another boat ride if you want to do, anyone wants to do. It's like this exact replica of the boat in which Daenerys Targaryen came, to
Okay.
King's Landing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like that dragon in the front of that boat. So it's an exact replica of that. You can do a tour of it. We didn't do it. It's a bit pricey. It's 40-50 euros, a bit expensive. But if someone is really enthusiastic, then he can do that too.
Yeah. So I guess after I think if I visit Dubrovnik, my trip gets completed in my mind, right? So for me, I think that's the major highlight of the trip, which I would look up to, right? So I think you guys covered Split, Dubrovnik. So what's more in Croatia, which is like uh, worth covering, or you covered, and you would say ki this is more special than maybe Split and Dubrovnik, or was spectacular? What all other towns you covered in Croatia?
No, so basically, in Dubrovnik, there is another island, Lokrum Island, which you can cover. So
Okay.
basically, from mainland of Dubrovnik, main port of Dubrovnik, there will be a ferry, 20-30 minutes ferry will take you to the island. You can spend some time over there and then you can come back. There's a return ticket of around 35 euros. So that is one thing in Dubrovnik which you can do. We didn't do it because we had covered most of the things on our day two in Dubrovnik. It was a pretty exhaustive day. We had covered a lot of things, as Liza said, in the
Yeah.
old town. And then we did that cable car as well, which was the best part to see the view of the entire old town lit up at the night. That is one more attraction which you can do in Dubrovnik. On your question, other than Dubrovnik and Split, then no. I mean, like there will be places, but Dubrovnik is the highlight of
Yeah.
Croatia. Definitely, hands down. Not just the Game of Thrones, but the old town of Dubrovnik is simply uh, mesmerizing, amazing. It looks like a set has been put up. It's a movie set. It looks like it's a movie set, natural movie set. So you
Yeah.
don't need to, edit or do anything. If someone wants to shoot a film or short film over there, it is so scenic. So these are the top places according to me.
Yeah. So I guess that covers the Dubrovnik part. So from Dubrovnik, you guys went to which town next in Croatia?
So Dubrovnik, the next day after this old town tour, next day, like I said, in the morning we had Game of Thrones tour, and then in the evening we took a bus to a small town, very less popular. People who come to Croatia also they might also not know it. It is known as Makarska, and it is a very quiet town. I just went there because I thought we'll just relax, chill for a day or two. So we actually stayed there for 3 nights. It was not 3 nights actually. We on the first day actually we reached there at night around
Yeah.
9 p.m. So it was
Okay.
almost the end of the day, so nothing can't be counted. So we were there for 2 nights over there. We just relaxed there a bit and we just unwound and then strolled on the beaches, walked around the beaches of Makarska. It's a small town. You can take a walk on the streets, their marketplace, and basically it's town only to relax over there.
It's
There
like
are a
that
couple.
sunny summer holiday in Europe feeling.
Yes, sunny summer holiday in Europe. But unfortunately for us, the day which we were in the days when we were in Makarska, it was raining a bit. Half of the
Okay.
day was raining, although not very heavy, but drizzles. So at that time you don't get that summer feeling.
Yeah.
That is one thing I noted. Sometimes which can happen in
Yeah.
September and October both. And
Yeah.
if you don't want that, if you want a proper summer, then you don't have an option to
Yeah.
go to Croatia in July and August, June, July, August. But yeah, that was a relaxing place. There are two, three attractions which someone can cover in Makarasta as well. There is a blue horn. This called is the blue horn beach or something. It is in the shape of a horn. Um, but we didn't go there because it was kind of again an island hopping tour,
Okay.
which we had already done in Split, so we are not very keen on doing it. And also, I think due to climatic conditions, it might would have got cancelled also. So I'm not pretty sure,
Yeah.
but we
Got
didn't
it.
opt for it. Then there is a transparent floor skywalk, which is at the outskirts of Makarska, from where you get a very great view of the mountains and a sea ocean. Can do that as well. But again, we skipped it, and even I think that is also dependent on climate. So these are a couple of things, but apart from that, Makarska is more for just to chill and relax.
Right. You spent 2 nights in Makarska, right?
Yeah.
So this was the last destination, or you there was
Last
from
destination we came to Zagreb because our flight
Makaras?
was from Zagreb, from
Yeah.
Makarska.
Yeah.
Again, a bus journey of close to, and now that is the biggest actual journey because it will take you around 6 hours. So 6 hours you can easily spend. And we came second last day to Zagreb. Um we didn't cover anything as such in Zagreb because, as I said, there was nothing, not
Yeah.
that great to cover over there. We just had a nice dinner in an Indian restaurant because we quite kind of bored of having pizzas and pasta because Croatian food is very much influenced by Italy. So you'll
Yeah.
find a lot of pizzas and pastas and risottos over there.
Yeah.
So we had a nice Indian dinner in Zagreb. That was our last night, and the next day we had our flight off to Mumbai.
Yeah. So one important point which I would like to highlight, or which I also try to notice, how about the expenses, right? So there are a lot of things, the tour packages which you booked, or
Yeah.
any ad-hoc purchases. Is cash preferred over there, or are they receptive of cards, credit cards, or forex cards at every store?
No, see, so the day tours are the ones where they will give you discount if you pay in cash. Okay,
Yeah.
you can use cards also, but they will give you some discount.
Yeah.
Rest for entry tickets to any museums or any places, palaces or something, everywhere they will accept cards. So you don't need
Okay.
to worry. Even in Slovenia, and even in Croatia, both the countries.
Okay. Yeah.
Hotels, restaurants, 99% of the restaurants will accept cards. So
Okay.
also there also you don't need to worry big
I get
amount.
it makes sense for someone to carry a zero forex
Yes,
charges
definitely.
credit card while visiting Croatia or Slovenia. That would be helpful to cover
Yeah.
70% of the expenses, if not more than that, right?
Yes, 75% of the expenses over there, you
Yeah.
can cover it by the card. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So were you carrying any card which help you in this journey,
E-
or
Yes, I used a Neo debit card. It's a debit card. I didn't have a credit card with zero forex. So Neo debit card is a debit card with zero forex. It's
yeah.
very convenient to load. You'll have to open a bank account with DCB Bank or SBM Bank. I think they have tie-up with both the banks. So you can
Yeah.
choose that, and the entire account opening process is very smooth. I had used this card a year back when I went to Singapore as well in 2023. So it is accepted. It's a Visa card, so no issues in terms of acceptance. You can use it anywhere for any small amount or something,
Yeah.
and you can load it easily. You can just transfer. Let's say you have a bank account with in Indian ICICI Bank. You can just transfer from ICICI Bank to the bank account, DCB bank account, if you are opening with DCB, and your card gets loaded instantly within few seconds, and you can then right away spend there over in euros, dollars, Singapore dollars, whatever currency you're spending in.
Right, right. So moving on from Zagreb, you came back to Bombay, right? So which airlines was this? Turkish Airlines again, or you had booked some other airline?
This was Turkish Airlines. I mean, connecting flight from Zagreb to Istanbul and Istanbul to Mumbai. So Zagreb to Istanbul was proper Turkish Airlines flight, but Istanbul to Mumbai was partially operated by Indigo. So that
Okay.
particular leg was an Indigo leg from Istanbul to Mumbai.
So what's your experience with Turkish Airlines? So someone if they are traveling to Croatia, should they opt for Turkish Airlines with a similar journey if they have from Mumbai to Slovenia and return from Croatia to Bombay,
So
or would you recommend looking for some other airlines?
So I went while going to Slovenia, Ljubljana, I took Swiss Air. So it was a Swiss Air
Okay.
flight, like I said. It was again Mumbai to Zurich and Zurich to Ljubljana. Very comfortable journey. Swiss Air has excellent flights, and although it was a night journey, it was like the smoothest night journey I ever did. It was not when I was like I mentioned, I went to Singapore in 2023. It was again a night journey, but compared to Singapore Airlines, Swiss Air was really comfortable. So definitely a go if you get that flight. Coming back, like I mentioned, it was a Turkish, but the second leg was operated by Indigo. That is not going to be comfortable, to be honest.
Right. So any other things which you'd like to highlight or share as a tip for anyone who is trying to plan for Croatia or Slovenia? Anything, any city which they should cover, or anything which they should maybe which were not covered in our discussion, and that is something which did not come as a part of our discussion, but you'd like to highlight.
If someone wants to cover another day trip from Dubrovnik, but you will need a one more day for that in Dubrovnik, you can cover Kotor. So Kotor is a Bay of Kotor. Kotor is, I think, it comes in Montenegro. So you can do a day trip. There are a lot of day trips available on Get Your Guide.
Yeah.
You'll have to leave early in from Dubrovnik at 6 a.m. and then they come back by 6, 7 in the evening. So it's 12, 13 hours a day tour. Um, it's also a very scenic location, but I felt like from the videos at least it felt like it's kind of similar to the beauty which Croatia offers.
Okay.
So not absolutely necessary, but if yes, someone wants to get that feel of covering another country at least on a day tour basis, then definitely that's one good option which I would suggest.
Think it was a very good discussion. I think it will be very helpful for anyone who is planning for Slovenia and Croatia. Thanks, Chinmay. Thanks a lot for sharing your insights and sharing your complete trip. I think it was like you shared the complete skeleton and flesh of your trip right with us. One suggestion I would like you to help us with, if you can share the trip plan and expenses if you have in an Excel, maybe I that plug it in the description
Sure,
so that anyone who is like trying to get an overview of the overall trip, what all spots you covered day wise, and if you have any expenses mapped in that Excel, I think that would be very helpful for anyone who is trying to plan. They will get an overview of the same and
sure. On that,
uh,
just to give you a overall idea of the expense, so we spent we spent around 2.15 lakh 15,000 per person, including around that maybe 1 or 2% here and there.
yeah,
But the ballpark number is 2.2 lakh 15,000 per person, and it includes everything. It includes flight, stay, food, travel,
travel,
attractions,
everything.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
and
that
visa
that
as
is
well. Visa cost as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, so I think that would give anyone a great idea of if they're looking an overall
Yes,
ballpark number, and if they can try the same itinerary which you made for covering Slovenia and Croatia from Mumbai. Thanks, Chinmay. Thanks a lot for
thank you,
sharing your time and your insights on Croatia and Slovenia trip. Thanks a lot. Uh, we may
thank you.
connect again for some
Sure.
other trip
Yeah.
and share
Yes.
each other's plans. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Thanks.
It was fun. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.